We've got Pam Baker from the McLaren District Football Club. We dropped the Vale and the Flat, and we just got districts now, haven't we, Pam? Yeah. We've got, or the third one's the Flat, isn't it?
Well, that was the districts, the kids, the juniors.
Oh, yeah. I've got Brian Kerr with me.
G'day, Pam.
And
Hi, Brian.
And Pam's been with McLaren Districts for how long, Pam?
About 25 years.
25 years?
Yeah.
She's been a trainer with McLaren Districts. When I was reading this, Pam, I thought, is trainer the right word now? Because I don't think trainer gives the right impression of what you actually do. Is that a fair comment?
Well, it is still what we are designated as sports trainers. But it's more. I mean, people think trainer, they think you're a coach, but we're not. We're not that. Our sole focus is the first aid element, and actually looking after injuries on the day and recovery and that sort of thing. You know, anything that needs to be looked after on an ongoing. We could recommend to physios and doctors and all that sort of thing. We, make sure that the players get to see the people that they need to see to aid their recovery.
With that, Pam, what sort of levels do you have to go through to become, say, a fully qualified trainer, or how many levels are there that you need to achieve?
Well, at the moment, usually people start off with they need to have their senior first aid, and then they can do a trainer's course with sports medicine with SASMA, which is the Sports Medicine South Australia, and do their level 1. It's usually where they start, and they need to have their level 1 for a while and do training and so forth, and then they go on to do their level 2, and level 2 is actually the highest one in training, but there are other specialties that they can do in addition to that, but really the level 2 is the highest one that they go to.
Okay.
And how many trainers in each club, Bill?
It varies greatly. It's just a matter of how many, because there is a weekly commitment really for training and for game day. It just depends on usually parents and supporters and so forth who do the training, but they have to be accredited and have their actual training certificate to do the training. But it's not preclusive at all. We do the courses, and the courses are designed for people to be able to do the training. It's not, it's not meant to be, really difficult. It's meant to enable us to do the training that we need to do.
Yeah. And you've been at it for 25 years, and did I mention?
Well, I was actually I volunteered I just helped volunteer for the first couple of years, just as a timekeeper and that sort of thing. And then there came a vacancy for the trainer, and I thought, well, I'm going to be there every week with my boys, with my 2 sons, so I might as well be helping out, doing something that's that we need to on an ongoing basis, and I'm just stayed.
Yeah. Well, you've been acknowledged in at this stage the only McLaren Districts person in the Great Southern Football League Hall of Fame, which was established this year. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you very much. I know there are a lot of people at McLaren Districts that have been there longer than I have, but it just so happens that to qualify for the criteria apparently for the Hall of Fame, which I didn't know anything about until I was advised, by the president, because McLaren District, or McLaren, was in Southern prior to moving to Great Southern, and so a lot of the people who have been there even longer will have done a lot of their work in Southern, you see, but it was a requirement that the a minimum of 20 years the work was done in Great Southern with helping out with the association as well as the club, not just the one thing. It had to be helping out the association, the Great Southern Football League Association as well.
Yeah, well, actually, Pam, just for our listeners' benefit, Wollonga were pretty much in the same boat, that they didn't join Southern until I think the mid-80s. And so...
Yes, I'm not exactly sure the year of them, but we joined Great Southern in 2001.
Yeah, they were probably about 15 years ahead before, but so people appreciate they don't hand out Hall of Fame membership like a bag of lollies. You know, you've really got to earn it, and that's what makes it so important that you do get that recognition.
Yes, and the clubs, some of the clubs that were clubs in the inaugural Great Southern, that they had quite a few Hall of Fame nominees. So that was their history goes back quite a while. So that's right to the beginnings of the association.
Yeah, and I think if you went to Southern and had a look on the honour board for their Hall of Fame members, you'd find a lot of members there from McLaren Flat or McLaren Vale.
That's correct.
That would have been acknowledged by the Southern League. With your long service, how is the treatment of injuries, or two questions, how has the treatment of injuries changed, and what is the expectation of players now compared to when you first started?
Oh well, yes, it has changed, and we're very much proactive now, and we try and encourage the players to be responsible for their own. We help them, but they are asked, to be proactive in their recovery, and they know they're advised of what to do, and we expect them to carry that out and to keep up with their continued recovery, and that's it's really it's them and us together.
Yeah.
It's not all on the trainers. It's on the players as well. So.
Yeah, along those lines, Pam, one of the things I'm interested in is that, we have concussion protocols these days. And, of course, when we watch the SANFL and we watch the AFL, they've got doctors on hand and they assess whether they're going on with that sort of scenario. What's it like at a club in the Great Southern and the McLaren District Club in making an assessment like that? Have you got a doctor available, or are you guys responsible for that?
Yes, we do. And he's a very highly qualified sports medicine doctor, so we're very lucky in that respect. But we're very proactive in regard to concussion, and every year we have courses and so forth to make sure that we're up to date with all the new treatments and so forth, and all the new ways to handle the concussion. And we're always advised and encouraged to attend seminars and training days throughout the year and so forth regarding not only concussion but all other sorts of injuries as well. That's part of our responsibility as trainers, is to make sure that we keep up with all these the new innovations.
Okay, yep.
And it's no secret that we've spoken before we come on air a few days ago, Pam, and you were telling us about the liaison between the clubs in respect to injuries. Could you explain how that's changed?
We're very, very blessed in Great Southern. We've got a great camaraderie between all the trainers within the association, and we all, on any given game day, we help each other out, and if necessary, I mean, we all have our own club group of trainers, but, you know, if someone's a bit short one day or anything, there is always, we always make sure there's someone there with enough qualifications to assess and look after everybody. And if anybody needs any help, well, we just call on the other ones. Can you come and just watch the ground for us, or can you help us out with something? And everybody's more than happy to do that, which is really wonderful.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah. The doctor, I won't mention his name, or I think I know who it is, but he's officially the Great Southern League doctor, isn't he?
They've got actually two doctors that we refer to in the Southern League, but our club doctor is also an SANFL club doctor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very, very lucky in that respect.
Yeah. So you can pick up the phone at any time and get advice and...
Absolutely. These doctors have allocated times and after games, and they're given the head trainers their communication details, and it goes through the head trainers, and they work out a program for rehabilitation for the players, or just to get them seen and so forth, immediate, injury problems and things like that. So it's very good. We're very lucky.
Yeah, it's a lot different to what it used to be.
Yes.
For sure. We don't use the magic sponge anymore.
When I was playing, you'd see the trainer come out with a bucket full of ice and a wet towel. That used to fix you. You get up and go.
And they come off the building site with the cement stuck on their hands and give you a rub down with the cement and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that anymore.
No. How do you find the players? Are they demand, or I suppose it's the individuals, but are they generally appreciative of what's being done for them?
Absolutely. They're just wonderful, absolutely wonderful, very respectful, and they know that we have their best interests at heart, and they've also got their teammates' interests at heart. They're part of the team, so they take on the responsibility that they're part of the team, and they've got to pull their weight and do what they need to do to get themselves right. So, I mean, they really are. They're very serious about their footy, and a credit to them all. They really are marvellous.
Yeah. One thing that I admire with the AFL players is these ice baths. Have they come down to the community football?
Absolutely. Oh yes, That they're a great aid in recovery after the matches and so forth. Yes, I would say most of the clubs use them in Great Southern, and probably in Southern as well. I mean, I don't know exactly what other people do, but I know there's quite a few of them that have got the ice baths, and they just seem to help out with the recovery straight after the game.
What have they used? The rubbish bins, the wheelie bins, and get in?
There's lots of things you can use, but and you can buy specific ones. You can buy portable ones, and to take to game day. And you can, and some clubs have got them actually built into their change rooms.
Oh, yeah.
They're a fixture, which is very, very good too.
Yeah.
Are any shaped like a coffin?
Yeah, no. I haven't seen any shaped like a coffin.
Yeah, I was
just enough so they can just immerse themselves, just for the, sake of the soft tissue, soft tissue conditions and things like that.
Oh goodness!
Is there a time that they should use the ice bath after a game?
Yes, that's usually when they do it. and it just aids them sort of in the immediate recovery after the game, and it seems to be quite an asset, really. They seem to, a lot of them seem to take the benefit of it. There's some that don't want to use it, but I mean, if it's there for them to use if they want to.
Yeah. How long do they stay in there?
Only 5 or 10 minutes. That's all.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
It just depends, but that's what we've got. By the time everybody gets a turn, sort of thing.
Yeah.
When they've had that ice bath, do they all go straight for a hot shower?
It just not necessarily. Well, they probably can do, but usually they spend some time in there and then sort of let the body come back to normal temperature and then go and have the shower after that. Otherwise, they've sort of defeated the purpose a little bit.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, one of the interesting things, Pam, is years ago, a player got injured. The trainers would get him off the ground as quickly as they can, get the reserve player back on. Now, what's the protocol? You don't move a player, do you? What's the protocols around that?
It depends on injury. We do. There is also a protocol with in regard to our training how we handle every incident on the oval, and as you know, we have to stop and assess and so forth. But we do, if there's a danger to the player or to the player, the trainer, other players, anything like that, we stop the game to remove the player. So so it's not, so no one's in danger then,
Yeah.
But depending on the injury, it always depends on the injury as to how we handle it, and we assess that on the go sort of thing.
Yeah. And we were talking also about how trainers from the various clubs will come and assist the player, even though they're not their club.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
We all follow the same routine, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
We all know the requirements of assessing and so forth before we attend to the player.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that, Pam, do you find, I guess you've had a couple of fairly serious injuries over the years that you've been associated with the game.
Yes.
Do you generally find that the players and the umpires are just very quick to be aware of the situation and sort of conduct themselves accordingly?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We, because they're not always facing the player. If the play's still ongoing and something happens, and we run out to a player, then we've got hand signals to signal to each other, like the other trainers on the bench. We've got signals to let them know what's going on. As we're doing sort of a running assessment sort of towards the player and so forth, we can then acknowledge what we think needs to be done, and also we draw the attention to the umpire straight away and say, ask to stop the play and that sort of thing. And if the other players that are in the play, they can see what's going on, they'll also alert the umpires to stop the game as well.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of people that haven't been mixed up in football clubs wouldn't have a clue what cost it is to the club for first aid equipment. Can you? I don't want you to say how much. McLaren, but the ballpark figure.
It is considerable, and there's lots to it as well. With tape and just even tape alone. There's a quite considerable cost, but fortunately with the wonderful sponsors and that the clubs have got, we're able to take care of the needs, and it's usually just got to be brought to the committee's attention if there's something that we need and they take it, they take it under consideration. So we're very lucky, really.
Yeah. Do all players have their ankles strapped these days?
No.
No, they don't.
No, not all. And the thing is, you try and it's sort of like some people will do it as just a precaution, but mostly we try and encourage them as soon as they're recovered from whatever injury. We say, to get the ligaments and the muscles back strong again, they're better off not having tape because they can come to rely on it.
Yeah.
But if it gets to a stage where they need it done all the time, well, it's done all the time. But it's very much up to individual.
Yeah. It's coming up to 4 minutes past 5. We're talking to Pam Baker from McLaren District Football Club, and she's been a trainer there for over 20 years. Now, she must, over those 20 years, had some favourite players. The ones you would like to take home, Pam. Have you got any of those players?
I've got to say, no, they're all my favourites. They're just absolutely wonderful. I get a lot of joy of taking care of them, and there's beautiful families too that are there to support them, and it's just so wonderful. I'm now in one or two cases, onto my third generation.
Yes.
It's just really, really fabulous. And as my parents always used to say, if you want to be a part of a community, you must be expected to contribute, and that's just volunteering is just one way that we can do that in that sort of circumstance. But no, I don't. They're all my favourites. I just love them all. They're fantastic, and to see them down the street or anything like that, say hello, and the little ones, you meet them in the supermarket or something like that. They all give you a wave and a smile. So it's wonderful.
Do you do all grades?
Yes. I mean, I at the moment we've got a few trainers at McLaren District, so we sort of rotate through. But over the years, I've done from the Moddies right through the A grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd sleep well on Saturday nights, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have any trouble. I don't need any rocking, if you might say.
But I don't believe that you haven't got one favourite.
Oh no, I can't. I can't say. I mean, I
know you can't say.
I can't say that I have. I really think there's so many wonderful characters, and they're just such wonderful young people. We're just blessed in the area to have them. We really are, and their parents are so supportive, and just a credit to them, the way their children are brought up and so forth. It's just really, really lovely place to be.
That's fantastic.
Well, you're a credit to the McLaren District Football Club and football in general. And I dare say if you went to another sport, you'd be a credit to them too, Pam. So,
thank you for that. That's very kind. But I feel privileged to be there.
Yeah.
To have those people have the trust in me to look after their children. That's just wonderful.
Yeah. So if anyone hearing this wants to volunteer, doesn't necessarily have to be a trainer.
No.
Think of another word for trainer. First aid.
Think about community sport, especially like footy clubs are an example, but any sport. If you look at the setup, there's a dog for everyone. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's always a need for a big commitment or a small commitment. A daily, once a day commitment, or a once a week commitment, or a once a year commitment. So, there's a job for everyone, and it's always very much appreciated.
Yeah, well said.
All they've got to do is get in touch with the Great Southern Football League, and they'll point them to their nearest club.
Yep.
That's absolutely, and they'll be welcomed with open arms.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, thanks, Pam. Not only for today, but for what you've done over a long time with football.
Absolutely.
And and hopefully we'll catch up with you again sometime.
No, that'd be wonderful. Thank you very much. It's a very kind word, but I've been...
And she told me that when I spoke to her on the phone, that her parents were country people, and they made the comment, if you're going to live in the community, you've got to contribute to that community. And we asked people, all sports, all clubs need volunteers.
They do indeed.
So if you've got some time, or you feel at a loss end, because it's not only what you contribute, it's the friends that you make there at the club. So
You do indeed.
So in this particular case, we're talking about Great Southern Footy. Just ring the Great Southern office.